Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is Technically T, and today we're going to get into the first impressions and how I feel about the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now I'm going to try to keep this video short. I don't want to get too much in the review aspect because these first impression videos can be very long. So I just want to talk about a little bit what I feel about it since I'm using it for a little over a few days now. So starting off with the screen and build quality. You already know we're running a Samsung, any of the newer Samsung phones, your screen quality is going to be A1 and your build quality is going to be A1. And they did an excellent job with the S9 Plus. Even though it kind of reminds you of the S8 Plus when we're talking about design and form factor, but still everything they changed a little bit about it. I feel like the bezels are even smaller now than the S8 Plus and the Note 8. They just did an excellent job with the S9 Plus. When it's in your hand, it feels like such a great device. I love holding it. As bad as I want to run a phone naked, I can't do it. I gotta have a case on it, but when holding it without a case, it absolutely feels beautiful. They did a great job, and I like the subtle changes they've done of actually doing making the edges of the phone matte instead of like a shiny material like they did on the Note 8 and the S8 Plus. Next, those stereo speakers. Now, if you know me, I'm a big fan of stereo speakers, and I'm finally, Samsung, even though they're late, they finally got on the front-facing stereo speakers, and they did an amazing job with it. Now, some people are going out there and saying that it's a little louder. I think they may mean a better quality than the iPhone 10, but I don't know, man. I feel like when I crank up the iPhone 10 and when I crank up the S9 Plus, the S9 Plus just overpowers the iPhone 10. But either way, both of them are great speakers, but Samsung knocked it out the park when they finally included stereo speakers on the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. They absolutely sound beautiful. So you know if you have a Samsung phone, you're gonna want to watch some type of media on that beautiful screen, and watching your media compared with the Dolby Atmos sound, setting that they have to activate Atmos with the stereo speakers, you can't beat it. The media watching experience on the S9 Plus is A1. Next, switching over, talking about the camera on the back. Now, I haven't really got out and taken a bunch of pictures with the S9 Plus. I do want to do a whole camera review on the actual camera itself, but the few pictures that I have snapped looked very good. The details are very crisp, and it's what you expect when you're coming from a Samsung camera. Now, I know a lot of people like to say that Samsung oversaturates their pictures. Yeah, that's true compared to like an iPhone or a Pixel phone, to where you actually get what you actually see. Samsung can, make things a little bit more vibrant, but it's either you like it or you hate it. But either way, the pictures look great coming from the S9 Plus. The front-facing camera is also pretty good. I feel like it's a little soft on certain areas when taking a picture, but it's still good quality nonetheless. If you're not a stickler for your pictures and you're just doing them for social media and everything like that, they're gonna look absolutely beautiful. I haven't tested out the double aperture for it yet because I need to get into some low light situations, take pictures of of something so I can see the difference and see if it really makes a difference. But the samples that I've seen across YouTube, across a few articles that I've read, seem like it does a really good job of knowing when there's a low light situation and they can lower that aperture to let more light in. So we will test those. 4K 60 frames per second. You already know the big talk is they only let you record for 5 minutes. I mean, that's here or there. Some people are having a big fuss about it. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't let it bother me because I rarely shoot in 4K 60 frames per second. So it's cool for, joking around. If you're taking videos here or you're doing something there, it's cool. Mostly I'm gonna shoot in 1080p 60 frames per second. You can call me old school or whatever you want, but it works for me and I'm not really getting caught up about the 4K 60 frames per second. But if you are, just know if you wanna shoot a YouTube video or if you wanna shoot any content strictly in 4K 60 frames per second, it's gonna require a lot of doing some things in the background because you have to do a lot of editing because it's only 5 minutes. So just keep that in mind. But we will have a camera review coming up of the S9 Plus. But right now, my initial impressions, take great pictures as always when it comes to a front-facing camera and the rear-facing camera of the S9 Plus. Talking about the software experience. Now, you already know Samsung now is not really called TouchWiz anymore. It's actually called the Samsung Experience, but they did a great job once again. Now, I always said the first Samsung phone that didn't have any lags over time for me was the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, and I'm still using it to this day. The thing has no lags. It's been running like a champ since release day, and the S9 Plus is already working to be another one of those phones, and it's gonna basically solidify Samsung lag situation because you already knew a lot of people, whether you like it or not, Samsung phones always lagged over time, but right now the S9 Plus and the Note 8 are killing it. The S9 Plus is chugging along with the new processor with those 6 gigs of RAM. It is not doing any lags whatsoever when I'm using the phone. Now, I can't speak for the S9 because I don't have an S9, but it has 4 gigs of RAM. So I don't know if that has a hindrance on the performance part, but right now the S9 Plus is running like a champ. The software experience is great. Yeah, you gotta deal with a little bit of, games and different things that's not optimized for Android themselves. It's not so much a Samsung issue. A lot of people kind of get that mixed up when the app isn't optimized, or I'm playing my certain games and I'm getting some drop frames, but it's not a Samsung issue. It's more so on the developer side, developing for Android and kind of optimizing the game for that version of Android. So everybody don't take it as a Samsung issue if you play games and some of them lag, because I have a few games I play, some plays flawless, no issues, others I hate it because it's that many drop frames. So overall, the performance right now, the S9 Plus is A1, no slowdown, and I'm sure over time it's gonna be just like the Note 8, where we didn't have any slowdowns over like a year or a period of time. Good thumbs up on the S9 Plus for that performance aspect. Staying on the software side, we're gonna talk about battery life. Now, since I've been using it, I've had a few charge cycles on it right now, and ever since the first charge cycle, I was getting 5.5 hours of screen on time. And actually yesterday, I got 6 hours of screen on time. Now, when I first started seeing the earlier reviewers of the YouTube community jumping out there and doing battery tests and having the phone for a week or so, and they were saying they got 6 hours of screen on time, I'm just like, there's no way. But me using the device, I can easily get 6 hours of screen on time, and that's with the quality cranked all the way up to the max. I'm not doing the halfway. I'm cranking the quality up to the max. I haven't set the auto brightness because the full brightness is just way too bright on certain situations, but I'm not babying the phone at all. I'm using it as my daily driver, so I'm heavy on social media. I'm emailing companies, I'm doing all types of things, and it's been handling it like a champ. Easily get through the day. Usually by the time I'm midway between work, if it's a slow day doing work, I'll be on the phone or doing something like that. But it's 2 or 3 o'clock on my iPhone 10, I will be starting to kind of run out of battery. But this one, man, kept chugging along. I had like 40% left, and it lasted me even when I got home, through phone calls, through all types of things, and when I went to bed, it still had battery life. So the battery life on the S9 Plus right now is A1, getting about 5.5 hours, 6 hours of screen on time. Now I know screen on time is not everything. It's not the set all and be all when it comes to a battery life, but it's a good representation on what you can get out of a phone. So right now, Samsung S9 Plus battery life is on par. Last but not least, this question I've probably been DM'd about, text about, phone calls about, asking me if you have the Note 8, if you have the S8 Plus, if you have the S7, should you upgrade and get the S9 Plus? If you have any version of the S7, hands down, definitely get the S9 Plus. I feel like it's a very nice upgrade, and it's a big jump from your S7 to the S9 Plus. So anybody with the S7s, more than trust me, definitely upgrade to the S9 Plus. Now, if you have an S8 Plus, here's where it gets a little bit confusing, because a lot of people are saying not to upgrade, but I'm still telling you to upgrade, man, because S9 Plus, I feel like everything that was wrong with the Note 8 and the S8 Plus, they've got it right with the S9 Plus. We're talking about fingerprint scanners. We're talking about the processor speeds, optimized optimized versions of Android. So it's just like, I feel like it's still a viable upgrade coming from the S8 Plus, because the S8 Plus still gave me micro lags. The camera was very good, but you're talking about a better camera with, a mechanical aperture. You don't have that. You're talking about, stereo speakers. I mean, I think all of that is a good enough upgrade to go to the S8 Plus. Now, if you're going out here and buying phones for retail, then it might not be worth it. But if you're on these plans where you can go trade your phone in and then you're paying monthly, it makes no brainer. Definitely upgrade to the S9 Plus, I feel, if you have an S8 or an S8 Plus. Note 8. Some people are still saying the Note 8 is slightly better than the S9 Plus, which I'm not arguing whatsoever. The Note 8 is a very good phone, but I'm thinking right now, guys, that the Samsung S9 Plus is the best Samsung phone that's out there right now. And that's simply because the no lag and those stereo speakers and the mechanical aperture when it comes to the camera. Stereo speakers to me is a big deal. It may not be to you, but I really, really enjoy having stereo speakers on my S9 Plus. The battery life is fantastic. It actually feels, I don't know if it feels a little bit better in hand when you talk about the Note 8. They both feel very good. The Note 8 can be a little bit wide and tall and narrow. With S9 Plus, I feel like it doesn't give me that same feel. But I would say if you have a Note 8, you don't have to upgrade, but just give the S9 a try. Go in your Best Buy, go in your local carrier stores, and just take a look at it, because it is an absolutely beautiful phone. It performs wonderfully, and I feel like it is the best Samsung device to date. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there and say it. So S7 owners, if you have S7, hands down, get the S9 Plus. If you have an S8 Plus, depending on your situation of how you get your phones, whether it's full retail, whether it's a payment plan, if you're able and you have a upgrade there, by all means get it, because you can just keep getting a new phone every year. If you have a Note 8, if you rely heavily on the S Pen, which I really don't, I never use the S Pen, then you can kind of weigh the differences and see if it's really worth it. Because if you're comparing the S Pen to the S9 Plus, it's not gonna compare, of course, because it doesn't have an S Pen. But if you're like me and you do not use the S Pen, I would say still the S9 Plus is still worth the money. So that's basically my quick rundown, guys, on all my hot points that I want to talk about when it came to the S9 Plus. Stay tuned to the channel because we will get into a full review after a few weeks. I'm not gonna, run a phone for a week and then throw the full review out there. We gotta really put our paces in, see if it's gonna slow up, which I don't think it is at this point. We're gonna get some camera tests in. You already know the case reviews are already on fire. I have tons of cases. I have a stack of cases over here to the side that I still gotta get into. But right now, my overall consensus so far, S9 Plus Samsung did a great job with this device. We'll see if it takes a spot. It's taking over my iPhone. You guys know I'm an iOS user, but I'm not saying that I have to be completely loyal to it to where I have to use one. This is the first device, and I go and say this on point, this is the first device where I have not been wanting to put my SIM card back in my iPhone 10. So right now, the S9 Plus has my attention. I really can't, I'm really looking forward to still diving a little more into it. The weekend came across, so I haven't really had a chance to experiment with the camera or anything like that, but we're going to get into it. So a full review coming in a few weeks, so stay tuned to the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, guys, and I'll see you next time. Later.